lot of time playing. But they're doing more than just having fun. All of their silliness is actually important for learning and growing. Just like people, animals play as a way to socialize and practice skills that they'll need in life. Finding food, communicating with others, and creating healthy habits are all learned by playing. Think about how little kids babble or pretend to shop and cook. It's kind of the same thing for animals. They're learning how to live by practicing, pretending, and playing. Sometimes animals play alone, and sometimes they play together. But no matter what, it's always a good time. Animals will often play in a way that looks aggressive. They might wrestle, pounce, and even growl at each other. But that can be just one way that they entertain themselves. Look at these guys. Are they really fighting? No, they're just playing. Exercise is obviously a huge part of playing. It helps animals grow strong and healthy, as well as develop skills they need to survive. It even helps them relax. Who knew letting loose would be so important? Probably the best part of playing is that it helps animals live longer. Activities like running, burrowing, swimming, and sliding, they all help animals create connections in their brains, preparing them to handle situations they will face later on. For this reason, playing is not only about messing around, but about growing up to live their best lives. Meet Stella. She's a baby African elephant. We know she's an African elephant because she has really big ears shaped like Africa, where her species is from. Stella has a mom that takes really good care of her and her two older sisters. But their family is actually much bigger than that. Stella lives in a family group called a herd. And in the wild, herds can have up to 40 females plus all of their calves. But only one female can lead the herd, and she is called the matriarch. Stella might be small now, but she's still growing. By the time Stella is an adult, she could be as big as 8 feet tall and 7,700 pounds. Elephants eat and eat and eat. They're herbivores, which means they eat mostly grass, leaves, bark, herbs, twigs, shrubs, roots, and fruits. Whew! All that eating equals a whole lot of poop. About 300 pounds of it every single day. And what about those trunks? Elephants like Stella use their trunks for more than just breathing. They also use them to smell, feed, greet, dust bathe, and drink. And they drink so much water each day, it could fill up an entire bathtub. But wait, back up. What is a dust bath? Elephants use their trunks to lift dust, dirt, and mud onto their backs to protect themselves from the sun. Think elephant sunscreen. In the wild, African elephants are a vulnerable species, but you can help. By supporting conservation organizations, your efforts can raise awareness and address some of the biggest threats to African elephants. Taking action like this can change so much for this magnificent species. And babies like Stella will be more likely to live long and healthy lives. Meet Augustus. He's a baby Nile hippopotamus. In the wild, Nile hippos live in the calm rivers and lakes of sub-Saharan Africa. Even as a little little guy, Augustus spends a lot of time in the water. Not long ago, Augustus was born in the middle of the night. Most newborn hippos weigh somewhere between 60 and 110 pounds. But by the time Augustus is an adult, he'll weigh up to 5,500 pounds. You have to eat a lot to get that big. So hippos, like Augustus, eat shortened grass until they're very full. Hippos need strong teeth to do all that eating. See that? That's no yawn. Hippos open their mouths like that to show off their big teeth. It's a way for them to see which hippo is the boss. Augustus isn't big enough yet, but maybe one day his teeth will grow so long that he can be in charge of his whole river. Elephants and rhinos are the only other land animals that are bigger than hippopotamuses. So hippos like Augustus are huge. But Augustus also has a huge personality. He's a funny little guy and is known for being playful. Sometimes other hippos get curious and want to be close to Augustus. But if they get too close, his mom will tell them to keep their distance. Have you noticed that Augustus's ears, eyes, and nostrils are on the top of his head? This is so he can still hear, see, and breathe when he peeks above the water. But hippos don't float. In fact, one of their favorite things to do is slowly walk around on the bottoms of lakes and rivers. One of the greatest threats for African wildlife is habitat loss. The homes of hippos are slowly being destroyed, and this puts them in danger. To help stop the threat, you can learn more about what makes hippos so unique and tell a friend. One way to protect the things you love is to show others how to love them too. Meet Quill and Gamora. They're a couple of red river hog piglets. In the wild, red river hogs live in Central and Western Africa, usually near slow-moving rivers. Just like hogs we see on farms, red river hogs love mud. They'll cover themselves in it to keep cool and protect themselves from the sun. Piglets like Quill and Gamora spend their first 2 months at home with their mom. This home, called a nest, is where they're most safe. But Quill and Gamora were also born with white stripes to camouflage them inside the nest, making them hard to spot by predators. Now that Quill and Gamora have grown a little and are big enough to explore, their stripes have faded. With short legs, you wouldn't think that these two could run very fast, but they do. Sometimes, when they move, their back hooves even kick up in a small hop. Most animals have adaptations that help them live and thrive. Adaptations are unique physical characteristics that help animals survive in their habitat. See that fluffy white mane and those long snouts? The mane is there to make them look bigger, keep predators away, and tell others they're excited. Their snouts, well, those help them find their dinner. They'll eat various plants like grasses, roots, berries, and nuts, and even animals like insects and snails. They're also most active at night, which makes them nocturnal animals. But these piggies are quite social, even if they're up all night. Living in groups called sounders, a family of them will have 2 to 20 females and young hogs, with one grown male that will lead them. It's a tight unit that sticks close together. Luckily, red river hog populations are currently stable in the wild. And by working with leading nonprofit organizations, your efforts can raise awareness and address some of the biggest threats to red river hogs and many others who share their forest homes.
Meet Jetta and Analla. They are Sumatran tiger cubs, and they're just a few months old. You might think they look the same, but they're different in many ways.
Sumatran tigers are found in the Indonesian island of Sumatra.
Jetta is a lot like his dad.
He likes to be still and take it easy. He even has 2 stripes on his head that look like a pause button. It's no wonder his name means pause in Malay. Analla is the opposite. She's playful and adventurous, just like her mom. This is how she got her name, which means fiery in Hindi.
Like most baby animals, Jetta and Analla stay close to their mom. But they can also get very curious, and they spend a lot of time exploring their home. Jetta and Analla are your typical brother and sister.
These 2 play together throughout the day. Jetta really loves to rip the bark off trees.
Analla is more interested in learning to hunt. She likes to practice sneaking up on her mom and then pouncing. But she's not very good at hiding yet. Don't worry, Analla. You'll get there.
You've probably noticed the orange and black stripes on their fur. All Sumatran tigers have them. They might be pretty, but the stripes are there to help them blend into the grasslands and forests where they live and hide once they're old enough to hunt. Every tiger has a different pattern that help us tell them apart. Can you tell which one is Jetta and which one is Analla? Your clue is in the stripes. Sumatran tigers are critically endangered. This means there aren't many of them left in the wild. In fact, fewer than 500 of them are still out there. But you can do your part to protect these beautiful animals by learning how to live a more eco-friendly life. Making these changes in our homes helps protect the homes of tigers. That way, Jetta and Analla won't be some of the last tiger cubs we watch grow. Meet Sheldon. He's a northern seahorse. In the wild, northern seahorses are found in quite a few regions along the coasts of the Caribbean and North and South America. Like all seahorses, Sheldon's life began as an egg. Female seahorses will lay dozens, sometimes hundreds of eggs, where they'll be stored in a pouch on the male seahorse, kind of like a kangaroo, but underwater. As a baby seahorse, Sheldon was known as a fry. He was tiny back then, just about the size of a jelly bean. But now that he's fully grown, he measures about 5 inches and is a small fry no more. Seahorses get their name from their horse-like head, but make no mistake, Sheldon and the others are actually fish, and unique ones at that. Look closely. With thin skin stretched over bony plates, this guy is all spikes and no scales. Sheldon's fast-moving fins make it possible for him to glide along with more elegance than any pony you might see on land. Sheldon, like every seahorse, has a secret power, the ability to camouflage. He can change to all kinds of colors, depending on his surroundings. Naturally, this makes him very hard to spot, so Sheldon doesn't get bothered much by hungry predators. But that doesn't stop him from hunting down a good meal. Just like other seahorses, Sheldon will ambush his prey and suck in small crustaceans with his snout. But without any teeth to chew his food or even a stomach to hold it, his dinner is digested quickly, and Sheldon gets hungry a lot. There's only one thing that Sheldon likes more than food, and that is his mate. Sheldon and his partner will stay together their whole lives. And as a long-standing tradition for seahorses, these 2 romantic slow dance each morning. Unfortunately, Sheldon's species is listed as vulnerable in the wild. Because this species lives in thick seagrass close to land, they are threatened by pollution, coastal development, and destructive fishing practices. Luckily, though, there are things that you can do to help. By keeping outside areas clean and conserving resources like electricity and water, you can eliminate some of the pollution that endangers these special animals. This is Isla. She's a young Maasai giraffe. Maasai giraffes are found in the African countries of Kenya and Tanzania. Baby giraffes like Isla have to wait a long time to be born. It can take more than 400 days. But once a mom giraffe gives birth, everything moves very quickly. Just like all baby giraffes, Isla learned to stand and walk after just 1 hour, and she could run fast within a couple of hours. And when she stood, she was more than 5 feet tall and already bigger than some full-grown humans. Her name does mean whirlwind in Greek, so that sounds about right. Now that Isla has grown a little, she is quite brave and adventurous, exploring some on her own. This independent spirit shows a boldness from the inside. But Isla also wears a bold pattern on the outside that tells us what type of giraffe she is. Different giraffe subspecies have different patterns, but those brown ragged spots are the pattern of Maasai giraffes. Did you know that giraffes and humans have the same number of bones in their necks? It's true. Both have 7 vertebrae in their necks, but the vertebrae of giraffes are very big. Their necks can be really long, like 6 feet long. It comes in handy when they have to reach high places for food. Isla's favorite food is acacia leaves. Her neck helps her reach them, but when she needs a little extra help, Isla will use her tongue to grab things that are just out of reach. Being about 20 inches, giraffe tongues are as long as a common house cat. So nothing comes between Isla and her snacks, and maybe some other things. Giraffes are the tallest animals in the world. In fact, Isla's legs are so tall that she can't lower her head enough to get a drink. She's had to learn to stand with her legs spread apart. No one said growing up was easy. There are only about 32,000 Maasai giraffes left in the wild. With dangers like poaching and habitat loss, Isla's species is a vulnerable one. But there are things that you can do to protect these beautiful animals. By learning to be eco-conscious and supporting conservation organizations, big changes can be made in little steps for giraffes like Isla. Just like people, all animals want to have fun. And one way for animals at Walt Disney World Resort to have fun is through exploration and enrichment. Enrichment prompts animals to think creatively, and it plays an important role in their daily routine with activities that appeal to the animals' behaviors. It's also delivered in many different ways. It might be something they can look at, like a new object. Or it might be something they can hear, like the sounds of a rainforest. It could even be a smell that makes them curious enough to search more closely. Often, though, the things that they can taste and touch are what provide the best engagement. Everyday items are great for enrichment in ways you might not realize. For example, things like tubes and boxes give animals a chance to experiment with shapes. Other treats, like frozen blocks of food, allow animals to experience different temperatures. Even something as simple as a pumpkin becomes useful by allowing animals to explore textures. These small delights are great entertainment for all. You may not know it, but games and puzzles are also terrific forms of enrichment. Puzzle feeders, for one, are a great way to play, but they also require the skills our animal friends need in order to stay sharp and in shape. Enrichment can also be a clever way to keep animals moving. Check out this Cairo spiny mouse on his exercise wheel, or this hunting scorpion ready to attack a flower that reminds it of its prey. As you can see, animal enrichment is definitely about fun, but it's at its best when it appeals to the animal's behaviors. And there couldn't be anything more natural than animals using their bodies and brains to be happy and healthy.
Have you ever seen one of these? This tiny critter may look like a wrinkly sausage with teeth, but it's not for breakfast. It's actually a special type of rodent called a naked mole rat. Weirdly, naked mole rats aren't moles nor rats. They're actually related to other skillful rodent burrowers like hamsters and porcupines. For that matter, they aren't naked either. Their loose, wrinkly skin is covered with very fine, nearly invisible hair that not only helps guide them through their home, but also helps them sweep their tunnels as they go along. Naked mole rats are really little. They weigh about the same as a tennis ball and only grow 3 to 4 inches plus tail. And their beady black eyes can't see much. In fact, they can't see at all. They're blind, only detecting shades of light. But that's okay, because naked mole rats live underground in the dark within elaborate tunnels in Africa. The homes of naked mole rats are a bit like a maze. Each tunnel branches off into countless rooms. Like our homes, there are rooms to eat, store food, use the bathroom, and sleep. The main difference is that their homes have to be big enough for hundreds of them to live, and sometimes it gets a little crowded. Like other rodents, the naked mole rat has front teeth that are sharp and grow like nails. But these guys keep their teeth trimmed by gnawing on tough foods. Roots and tubers are their favorites, so much so that these clever animals will replant some of what they collect and grow more food to share with the whole family later on. Everyone has a job and they all do it without fussing. With so many mole rats and all of them blind, it seems like they would never know who they're bumping into. But they know. Even though they can't see, they can hear and smell really well. And since every naked mole rat smells different from the others, they pick each other out by their unique scents. The life of a naked mole rat is busy and tough, but it's also a good one. How could it not be? Because when a family takes care of one another, happiness is always around the corner. How many bones do you think a shark has? 100? 200? Try 0. Sharks and rays don't have any bones. Their skeletons are made of cartilage. That's the stuff you have in the tip of your nose. More than 1,200 species of sharks and rays live on our planet. Rays usually live close to beaches and in coral reefs. And sharks generally swim deep down in the ocean. But some species swim in freshwater, and that means you might find some of these guys where you least expect them. Because they are fish, sharks and rays breathe underwater, but some types move constantly so that their gills can get oxygen. If they stop moving, they stop breathing. So they just keep swimming, even in their sleep. These animals come in all shapes and sizes, and the little ones are rather cute. The things they eat are varied too. Smaller sharks feed on tiny foods like krill and plankton. But bigger sharks usually want bigger meals, so they eat fish, marine mammals, and even other sharks. Tough foods like these require tough teeth, but a shark's teeth fall out all the time, and they have to grow new ones. It sounds crazy, but they might go through 30,000 teeth in their lifetime. Stingrays are predators just like sharks. They stir up the sand to find their prey and crush clams, squid, and sea urchins with their powerful jaws. As predators, sharks and rays help keep the ocean clean, healthy, and balanced. But these impressive animals are considered vulnerable, with millions dying from overfishing, habitat loss, and pollution. Because there are less of them to regulate the waters, the entire ocean suffers, and so do we. But we can do our part to help. Remember, all waterways lead to the ocean. Keeping them clean is keeping them safe, and keeping them safe helps us all. With big warts, big snouts, and gnarly tusks, this is probably a face only a mother could love. But a warthog's courage and loyalty could win over any heart. Warthogs live in every African country south of the Sahara Desert. As you can imagine, it gets really hot in the African sun, so warthogs make coats by wallowing in mud holes. These coats help keep them cool and protect their skin. Protection is what it's all about for warthogs. In fact, what they care about most is their family's safety. Those sharp tusks come in handy for that very thing. Any lion or cheetah will think twice before facing a warthog, because sometimes the danger of being stuck with those pointy ends just isn't worth it. Sometimes you just have to hightail it and run. So warthogs do this too, literally. If they become alarmed when they're out, they will run with their tail pointed straight up in the air like an antenna. That tail signals to others that danger is near. At times, though, fights just can't be avoided. Using tusks to fight, you'd think they'd poke their eyes out. However, the large warts that these hogs are known for actually protect their faces and help keep injuries from happening. For all their fighting, you might think warthogs were too aggressive, but they're usually gentle animals with an herbivore diet. Occasionally, they will down a slimy yet satisfying grub, but for the most part, it's grass and roots. A warthog's snout will sniff out his favorite plant snacks and then dig them up for dinner. And when it's ready, they will bend both knees and kneel in order to enjoy every bite. Sadly, many warthog populations are in decline. Their greatest threat are farmers who hunt them for eating crops. But by giving to conservation organizations and learning about these kind animals, you can help preserve and protect them. Can you name an animal that sounds like an alarm? A barking dog? And a chattering squirrel? Believe it or not, a meerkat makes all those noises to communicate with its family. These groups, called mobs, live underground in burrows found in southern Africa. Meerkats are hard to see at first because they blend in with the savanna grass. Plus, they're small and weigh less than a bottle of ketchup. But if you even see one meerkat, there will probably be many more nearby because meerkat families stick together. Meerkats are on the lookout for predators all the time. Some even stand on their hind legs and keep watch. These guards are called sentries, and their job is to warn the others of any trouble. Sometimes the group comes together with arched backs and ruffled fur to scare off threatening characters. Other times, they ready for attack by rolling on their backs with their teeth and claws out. With multiple entrances in the colonies that stretch up to 2.5 miles, a quick escape is often easy and the best choice. Protecting the clan is only one kind of meerkat job. There are other jobs for the rest of the gang. Some meerkats are housekeepers and food gatherers, but possibly the best job is as a meerkat babysitter. They watch over the little pups for about 3 weeks until they are old enough to emerge from the burrow and join the rest of the colony. Meerkats may be small, but they're tough, eating insects like termites, spiders, crickets, and scorpions. Though meerkats are not as threatened as other African animals, it's really important that their homes are preserved. If we band together in a group effort, we can effectively protect these African habitats. Because, as meerkats show us, teamwork makes the dream work. They're known as the king of the jungle, but lions don't live in the jungle. They live in the grasslands and savannas of sub-Saharan Africa. These African cats have large families called prides. Female lions are essential to the pride, and they help one another daily. They even raise each other's cubs in nursery groups. These groups are basically lion cub daycare, with a whole lot of nap time. Lions typically spend 20 hours a day resting, and with good reason. All that rest during the day makes sure they have enough energy saved up for hunting at night. Like all big cats, lions are meat eaters, and midnight hunts are how they find their dinner. Typically, the hunts are led by females. They work as a team to catch animals that are bigger, faster, and stronger than they are. They have excellent night vision. In the dark, they can see 6 times better than humans. They're also very stealthy and can sneak up quietly on prey. While the females are out hunting, the males usually hang back to protect the pride. Their magnificent manes give them a fierce look that intimidates rivals. But if looks aren't enough, a lion's roar will certainly put fear in the hearts of most, and can be heard up to 5 miles away. Lions are considered a keystone species. That means other species in the savannah depend on them to keep animal populations balanced. But with the lion population declining, they are now vulnerable, with only 20,000 lions left in the wild. The Disney Conservation Fund is helping lions by supporting the Lion Recovery Fund. Together, these organizations are protecting this majestic species and their home ranges and teaching people how to live safely alongside these big cats. Through efforts like this, the hope is that African lions will continue to roar. The spotted hyena is often mistaken for a type of wild African dog. In fact, hyenas are a family all their own. Hyenas live across all of Africa in groups called clans that include anywhere from 3 to 100 hyenas. Both males and females help the clan survive, but hyenas live in a matriarchal society, so the ladies are in charge. Even baby girl hyenas rank higher than full-grown males. Hyenas talk a lot. They make about 11 different sounds. They are best known for their laughing noise. This noise signals a social conflict, like when there's a fight for food. What do hyenas eat? Well, they're skilled hunters and search at night to find prey. They have an incredible sense of smell, sharp eyesight, and hearing that is so good they can hear 6 miles out. But their teamwork is what enables them to take down the large animals they eat. Hyenas have the strongest bite in the world. Because of this, hyenas eat everything. That includes bones, horns, and hooves. But when they get full, they carry their leftovers to the nearest mud hole for later. It's not refrigeration, but the hyenas make it work. Without hyenas, African habitats would suffer. As predators, their job is to clear the savanna of sick animals, but hyenas are often misunderstood, and in some places they're hunted by humans. This, along with habitat loss, has caused hyena populations to decline. Luckily, the Disney Conservation Fund is supporting projects to protect hyenas and other African animals by conserving habitats and helping people live harmoniously with wildlife. Through education and action, we can make a difference and create a world where nature thrives and animals like hyenas are protected. No one could accuse mandrills of being dull. They're almost like rainbow-colored monkeys. Their striking color isn't the only thing that makes them unique. They're actually the largest monkeys on Earth. As you might guess, mandrills are found in African rainforests. They live in groups called troops and can have 5 to 10 adults plus quite a few babies. Every mandrill has a place in the troop, and like human families, each member of the troop has different responsibilities. Females do most of the parenting, and they keep their babies close. They love it, and it keeps them out of trouble. Mandrills travel a lot. During these walks, males protect and lead the troop. Their bright blue, red, and yellow bodies make them easy to follow. Most other animals are afraid of a mandrill's loud coloring and will leave these monkeys alone. But if anyone does threaten the troop, a male mandrill will flash his long teeth to defend his family. With sharp teeth, you'd think these animals were mostly meat eaters, but they're not. Mandrills are mainly plant eaters, eating more than 100 types of fruits, seeds, and roots. Food is a big part of their life. Most of the day is spent searching the forest floor for it. They use their thumbs and big toes to grab small things, climb trees, and handle food. Mandrills care nothing for table manners, though. They are messy eaters, dropping fruits and seeds everywhere on the floor. It does help regrow the forest by planting new trees, so mandrills don't bother cleaning up. Unfortunately, as tropical forests in Africa are being destroyed, mandrills are losing their homes and struggling to live. Since 1995, the Disney Conservation Fund has supported efforts to protect mandrills by teaching communities to care for the rainforest and its valuable resources. We can do our part as well by recycling electronics. When we recycle our devices, we don't need to harvest forest materials as much for new ones. By respecting and accepting our responsibility, we have the best chance of saving mandrills and their beautiful way of life. What is it? This is an unusual bird called a hornbill. Hornbills are a family of birds found in Africa, Asia, and a few other places around the world. There are almost 60 different hornbill species, and they don't all look the same. They are big birds with big beaks that curve into the shape of a cow horn. The northern ground hornbill is a great example. This bird is so big that when it spreads its wings, it's as wide as a car. But as with all hornbills, its most unique feature is found in its name, the bill. That strange black tube on the top is called a casque. This helps to cool the birds in warmer climates and makes their echoing calls much louder. The throat of a northern ground hornbill has an air sac like a small balloon. Girls have a blue one and boys have a red one that they like to puff up to attract the ladies. Once they have found a mate, the happy couple will find a home inside a tree or a rock to start their family. When they're not talking, they're preening, which is a fancy way of saying cleaning. These tidy birds love to groom themselves and put each feather in place. I guess you could say neatness is in their nature. All hornbills have an interesting diet. They love fruits, insects, and small animals, including some wild stuff you wouldn't believe, like spiders, lizards, tortoises, and other birds. Hornbills are explorers, but they are exploring less and less due to habitat loss. Because they are losing their homes, they're considered vulnerable and at risk for disappearing from the earth. But by learning about hornbills, the land where they live, and ways we can protect both, we can do our part to ensure hornbills will fly happily into the future.
Animals spend a lot of time playing, but they're doing more than just having fun. All of their silliness is actually important for learning and growing. Just like people, animals play as a way to socialize and practice skills that they'll need in life. Finding food, communicating with others, and creating healthy habits are all learned by playing. Think about how little kids babble or pretend to shop and cook. It's kind of the same thing for animals. They're learning how to live by practicing, pretending, and playing. Sometimes animals play alone. And sometimes they play together. But no matter what, it's always a good time. Animals will often play in a way that looks aggressive. They might wrestle, pounce, and even growl at each other. But that can be just one way that they entertain themselves. Look at these guys. Are they really fighting? No, they're just playing. Exercise is obviously a huge part of playing. It helps animals grow strong and healthy, as well as develop skills they need to survive. It even helps them relax. Who knew letting loose would be so important? Probably the best part of playing is that it helps animals live longer. Activities like running, burrowing, swimming, and sliding, they all help animals create connections in their brains, preparing them to handle situations they will face later on. For this reason, playing is not only about messing around, but about growing up to live their best lives.
A sea turtle's journey begins on the beach in a nest full of turtle eggs buried deep in the sand. That might not sound so bad, but for a tiny baby turtle, it's much harder than you think. Whether a turtle is a boy or a girl depends on the temperature of their nest. Boys tend to come from cooler sands, and girls usually hatch from beaches where the sand is warmer. All sea turtles have to dig their way out of their sandy nest. Once they emerge, they do their best to race to the ocean. Finding the ocean is no easy feat, and hatchlings face a lot of obstacles. Natural threats like predators and human-made threats like trash can block a baby turtle's path, and only 1 in every 1,000 reach adulthood. So, there are 7 different types of sea turtles, and they have different favorite foods. Some species, like green turtles, feast on jellyfish and snails when they are young, but switch to an herbivore diet of algae and seagrass as they get older. Others, like loggerhead sea turtles, happily consume a carnivorous diet of shrimp, crabs, clams, and mussels their entire lives. After migrating thousands of miles during their lives, female sea turtles return to the beach where they were born. It's a challenging trek, but once it's made, females will lay not 1, not 2, but hundreds of eggs on the beach. And the circle of life begins again. The Disney Conservation Fund helps nonprofit organizations save animals around the world. In Florida, Disney is helping scientists monitor sea turtles on the beach, restore habitats where sea turtles live and lay their eggs, and teach people how they can join in to protect sea turtles. Off the Florida Atlantic coast, members of the Disney's Animals, Science, and Environment team also help research turtles and protect their nests. You can help too. On your next visit to the beach, be sure to pick up all trash so that the homes of the sea turtles can stay clean and safe.